and welcome to the Pink Sheep Tales podcast. Pink Sheep Tales? What's this all about, I hear you ask? Well, the name is based on the old saying, black sheep of the family, and tales, T-A-L-E-S, is a play on words because we'll be hearing people's life stories. So through this podcast, I'm so excited to be able to share these remarkable stories from inspirational children and adults with you. These everyday people are building amazing businesses, excelling in their careers, exceptional in their industries, choosing unique career paths, and all in the name of living their best life. My goal is to encourage listeners to follow their passions and be inspired by our pink sheep who have and are doing just that. So let's do it. Let's open the gate and hear this week's Pink Sheep Tale. Hi, Jo.
Hi.
Hi. So we have now Indy's mum, Jo. She's here with us, and we're going to hear just a little bit of her side of raising this fantastic young man, Indy, whose story we've just heard. And so when did you first see this entrepreneurial spark in Indy?
I don't know. I'd say it's been there for quite a while, probably at least 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of just been part of his nature, really, and sort of, it didn't kind of flick a switch one day. It's just sort of always been there.
So 10 years. So
yeah,
what was happening 10 years ago when he was 5?
He's just always been a really hands-on sort of a kid, you know, the sort of kid that wants to be doing things with his hands and making, like, even when he was younger, he was always playing Lego and, you know, he used to make things out of cardboard, and he used to love watching this program called Mr. Maker.
Oh.
So he used to do everything that was on there. So just really hands-on, even like just sort of age-appropriate things for him when he was younger. He was doing all of that sort of stuff, and I just used to have him doing, you know, even like stuff with like polymer clay or Play-Doh, and he was doing baking and painting and just all that sort of, you know, creative stuff he was doing right from really young.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a technical generation now. The children sort of are born with a knowledge of how to use all the devices and everything. But did he have a sort of higher level of interest in technology?
Yeah, he did. Although I've been quite vigilant, I guess, with limiting that too over the years, and he hasn't been the type of kid that's played a lot of video games or any of that sort of stuff. It's more been learning how they work and things like that. Like up until the last few years, he hasn't even had, you know, access to an iPad or phone or anything like that. So, yeah, I wouldn't say that technology's been a big thing for him, but in terms of like even watching TV or videos and stuff like that, I've tried to make it so that when they're watching things, they're watching more educational things. And either like documentaries or things like Mythbusters. He was a huge Mythbusters fan for years.
Yeah.
And just so that what they're watching is actually educational. Even on YouTube, like you can learn how to do pretty much anything on YouTube, you know.
And which is what he's done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of just sitting there and kind of wasting time watching other YouTubers that don't seem to be doing much, if you're watching people that are, then you're actually learning, getting knowledge and...
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what's it like living with Indy, raising a young man with all these ideas?
It's very interesting. Not often a dull moment, and I'm, you know, often sort of racing him around to pick something up or drop something here or, you know, off to work and things. But it's really cool actually seeing him develop and show his own interests and head in his own direction. You know, we've got 3 kids and they're all really different. So it's really cool to sort of see their natural interests come out and be able to encourage them to do what they want to do, you know.
Yeah. So I met your daughter.
Yeah.
Is your third child a boy or a girl?
Yeah, he's a boy. He's 16. He's not here. He's coming back tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's been away for the holidays.
So do you see that they get inspired by Indy's entrepreneurship, that he's little go-getter and...
Yeah, I would say so. And they've sort of got their own things going on as well. One of them's really musical and the other one's kind of into books and writing and stuff like that. So they're each got their own. But they do certainly look at him and, you know... I think a bit inspired by the, you know, inflow of money and things like that and working and things like that. So one of them's a bit young for that, but I dare say she'll be out getting a job when she can. And so they're each going in their own directions, and it's kind of cool as a parent to sit back and just sort of watch that happening naturally, As a parent, you want your kids to be doing, what makes them happy, what they enjoy doing and things. So it's all different for each of them.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. So you might have 3 fantastic geniuses on your hands.
Who knows?
Yeah, well, it's so great. It's so great. The other night when we were speaking on the phone, and even now, it's so great that you're so encouraging of him. And I know you're his mum, but the support network for a young person who has these ideas and big dreams. It's huge. It can make or break them. So it's just so fantastic. It's really great.
I just feel like it's what you do.
It is. It is
all different, and you don't want them doing what you wanted to do or what you want them to do. Almost, they've got to do what they want to do. You can kind of try and guide them a little bit, but ultimately, if you want them to be happy, then they've got to be doing what they want.
So what would you be most proud of with Indy?
I could probably list quite a few. But I'm definitely proud of his his work ethic and things like that, like having a job and working or going to school, having a job, keeping it all, getting to work on time and all that sort of stuff. But I'm really proud of his standard of work too, because I've had a few people come back and say, oh my gosh, he's just so, he's a really, really good worker, and, that as a parent makes me really proud. But I'm also, Scouts is a big thing for him too, and he's fundraised to go to Adelaide already a couple of months ago, and fundraising for New Zealand trip coming up. So that's another thing for me as a parent, for him to be out and able to travel and stuff like that is really cool. Another thing that I'm really proud of is actually his health, and I know it hasn't come up in the podcast, but Indy's got a autoimmune disease.
Oh, okay.
So he has the potential to be quite a sick sort of, kid, but when he was 3, he had, they sort of said he needed a major surgery, and we've been battling since then. And so for him to be even able to do this sort of stuff, a lot of kids or people with his condition can't work or can't go to school or anything like that. So he's smashing all sorts of boundaries, and, he's just awesome. And as a mum, it's just really inspirational for me as well to see him out doing all that sort of stuff, because he's just making his own way. He's doing it his way, and he's doing a really good job of it.
Just making the most of everything. That's awesome. That's awesome. So can you maybe say some challenges that have happened through his life with?
So he's got an autoimmune disease called ulcerative colitis. So an autoimmune is basically when the body attacks itself, but through diet and sort of natural therapies, we've been able to keep him pretty healthy. So with, he does have a pretty strict diet, no gluten and dairy and things like that. So that does limit him a little bit when he's out and at work and things like that. So it's more important for him to stay on top of his sleep and his food, diet and all that sort of stuff. So he's really got to be able to do that if he wants to thrive in other areas. And, so for me to see him living with that but still able to do all these things is just really awesome as a mother.
So could that affect his energy levels?
Definitely, yeah. And he's had to have regular iron infusions and things like that because he doesn't absorb nutrients and stuff. So
that's amazing that he's has such a busy schedule.
I know,
and
that's why I'm sort of as a mother kind of, although I encourage him because it's really awesome for him to be doing all this stuff, I'm sort of a little bit on the break sometimes to make sure that his health is, number one. Well, it just goes to show that it doesn't, you can face challenges in life and make the most of it, and at any age. That's right. And you often don't know what other people have got on. They're dealing with their own things. Everyone's got their own things going on, but you can still learn, to wiggle around obstacles that come your way and still be able to thrive and do what you want with your life,
well, I'm sure everyone who's just heard his story, and even myself, thinking, wow, he's just a bundle of energy, to sort of hear that sometimes he may not have that. That's amazing. Amazing.
No, he's doing really well.
If you look into the future and sort of think, oh, my little Indy.
Yep.
Where can you see him as an adult?
I don't know. I think he will end up having his own business for sure. I can't see him working, for someone else and doing some, menial 9-to-5 job. He just wouldn't be happy doing that. Mm-hmm. He'll have to be doing something that he has, a level of contentment and, feels good about. So I'd say, yeah, having his own business and probably some travel and hopefully, a nice family or whatever he wants down the track will be his. I think he can achieve whatever he wants to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Attitude, yeah.
And what advice would you give to other parents who have entrepreneurs in their family or the big ideas kids?
Yeah, it's just sort of hard. Like, every kid is different, so I guess you've got to kind of try and hone in on what the individual child wants, like what their qualities are, and their needs and what direction they want to head in and what interests them naturally, and then just try and encourage those sorts of things, which is different for every kid, isn't it?
Yeah. And maybe love spontaneity.
Yeah. That's always good.
Be along for the ride.
Yeah.
And expect
right.
The unexpected.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and be willing to sort of encourage things, even if it's not what you think at the time, because it's a process that they go through. They're not going to be where they are going to end up right at the start, but you have to encourage all those things because it's all learning and growth and, personal development and all of that sort of stuff that happens along the way, even the times that they fail. And because there's been a few times where Indy's bought things and it hasn't worked out, or he's lost money, or, even he's been ripped off by a few people, and it's not, that's all just learning. It's not a negative. Anything that happens like that, it's not a negative thing. It's just part of your journey, and you pick up what you learn and you move on and stronger for it at the end.
Yeah, and it's so great that you're teaching him that failures aren't failures, they're learnings. It's all it's all how things grow, change. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's really great, Jo. Well, thank you so much for allowing me into your home to do the interview, meeting Indy, meeting your family, and meeting yourself. It's so great. And like I said to Indy, I just wish you all the best. And we'll have to follow his story. And I've said to him whenever he'd like to do another podcast, give an update, everyone would be on the edge of their seat, wanting to know what his next move is and his next accomplishment. So, it'll be great. I'm sure we'll meet again.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jo.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you really enjoyed this week's tale. Let me now invite you to pop over to our Facebook group called Pink Sheep Tales Podcast, and there you can stay up to date with all the exciting news from our pink sheep. You can also find myself at OCD, Organising, Cleaning and Decluttering Specialists on Facebook or on my website ocdpro.com.au. Well, I'll catch you back here next week. Until then, enjoy yourself.